The Bavarian carmaker gave us many engaging cars throughout its history, but somehow, people have always had the deepest connection with its compact cars. First, the 3 Series, and then the 3 and 4 Series, as the coupe version got the even-numbered designation in 2013. That model in particular is our subject of interest in this video, because it gets notable updates, particularly in its hottest version, the M4. Call it a mid-cycle refresh or whatever you want, but the 2024 BMW M4 gets even better, even though the pre-facelifted model was already pretty much a flawless car. Subtle styling changes, refreshed interior, and most importantly, even more power. That's what the new version brings. So, without further ado, let's dive into the novelties and specs of one of the world's hottest sports coupes. Less is always more, at least in the case of the Germans. They've never been particularly generous with styling changes, even between generations, and not to mention mid-cycle updates. But the M4 was something different. Because when the current generation was introduced, die-hard BMW fans didn't seem particularly happy with the way it looked. You may presume that we're talking about those massive kidneys at the front, but somehow, people seem to get used to it. Today, most consider it pretty attractive. So, the Bavarian team of designers didn't want to risk it again with radical changes. Instead, these mid-cycle updates seem very subtle. If you look at the front, you'll have to check twice to notice bigger changes. The grille remains untouched, just like most of the front bumper. Practically, the key change is the new inner design of headlights. They feature a newer generation laser diode technology with a new inner design that complements the cluster shape. From the side, the only thing you'll notice is the new set of wheels, while the rest of the vehicle remains unchanged. Finally, the rear end design. Those quad pipes are still there, but you can notice that the taillights have also been updated with the new lighting technology and now feature a new inner design. Another small but quite notable touch is the new rear badge, which now features black edging instead of chrome. Other than these subtle updates, the 2024 BMW M4 continues in a familiar way. In other words, you may count on all those familiar styling upgrades that come with M-badged models. Bumpers, side skirts, rear diffuser, wheels, all these things are notably different compared to those found in standard 4 Series and make this iteration look more aggressive, more performance-ready. When we talk about M models in BMW's range, logically, the first thing that comes to mind is what's under the hood. But like other M-badged models, the M4 is also much more than just a special engine. There are a whole bunch of upgrades and fine-tunings that make this particular iteration such an engaging machine to drive. Of course, we're talking about a typical M treatment, which refers to suspension upgrades, bigger brakes, chassis reinforcement, and many other things. All these components are special in their own ways, but we always like to point out the suspension setup, which is a notable departure from the standard 4 Series. At the front, the M4 utilizes an upgraded double-joint spring strut with unique geometry, while a 5-link rear axle comes with its own specific kinematics and elastic kinematics. Both axles are complemented by M-specific adaptive dampers, while it's also worth mentioning that the steering features variable ratio. Compared to the regular 4 Series, there's also a special stability and traction control tuning. Another important thing to mention is the available all-wheel drive. That's something we didn't have in the previous iteration, but it's important to mention that this is still a heavily rear-wheel drive biased system where the front wheels engage only when the rear wheels pass the critical traction point. The M4 has always been a few steps above the standard 4 Series when it comes to interior design, with exclusive features all over the place. The refreshed model continues in the same way, but also brings a handful of novelties, starting from the new steering wheel. The new unit is flat-bottomed and can be configured with either genuine leather or faux suede, and we have no doubt you've already noticed a couple of red buttons which are there for you to help you with customizable M-Drive modes. Then, if you look a little bit closer, you'll notice that the dashboard trim has been updated with a new dark graphite finish. The same finish surrounds the center console and cup holders, while you can also pay extra to get an additional carbon fiber trim. Speaking of carbon fiber, the front seats aren't just characterized by impressive bolstering and illuminated logos, they're also made of this super light material to save every possible pound and help this engaging coupe perform even better. But even with all these upgrades, the overall layout remains pretty familiar, with a lot of similarities to the 3 Series, though we have to say that the coupe does feature a little bit less legroom in the second row compared to the 4-door sedan. Finally, a few words about the most interesting part of this impressive piece of engineering. Purists will be happy to hear that the M4 remains true to its original nature and that it continues with a good old 3.0-liter turbocharged inline-6. However, it brings a notable power upgrade, so the max output is now rated at 523 horsepower. The officials didn't mention anything about the max torque, but we presume a few more pound-feet are there as well. For reference, the pre-refreshed model is good for about 479 pound-feet. In any case, we presume that this power upgrade could bring some improvements in terms of acceleration as well. The pre-facelifted model needed around 3.5 seconds to hit 60, so it's expected to see the new more powerful iteration getting closer to 3 seconds flat. In any case, this will only increase the gap between the M4 and its key competitor, the RS5, which now trails 80 horsepower after this update. On the other hand, things don't look so impressive when compared to the second closest rival, the Mercedes-AMG C63, which will soon be available with a new, super hot hybrid setup with 671 horsepower. As for the top speed, we presume the M4 will remain electronically limited to 155 miles per hour. As for the transmission, old-school enthusiasts can't count on the stick anymore. The excellent 8-speed automatic transmission provided by ZF remains the sole option, but it does offer a manual shifting mode, allowing you to use those massive paddle shifters mounted on the steering column. We're pretty sure that you don't care much about fuel economy, but let's cover this aspect anyway. The official numbers are yet to be disclosed, but we're pretty sure that a minor 20 horsepower upgrade is not going to change anything, so we may expect similar ratings as in the pre-facelift model, for which EPA estimates around 16 miles per gallon city and 23 miles per gallon highway. The 2024 BMW M4 is not just an impressive performer, it's also a pretty convenient performer loaded with all kinds of standard and available equipment. First, a few words about new tech features, starting from the new infotainment system. That's something we forgot to mention when we were talking about the interior, but this definitely is the first thing everyone notices inside the cabin. Just like in the new 3 Series, you get a massive curved panel that incorporates 2 large screens. First, there's a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, and then there's a 14.9-inch unit positioned above the central air vents. Besides hardware, the new infotainment system also brings big novelty in terms of software, as there's BMW's new iDrive 8.5 operating system with crisper graphics, quicker response, and better menu navigation. Finally, a thing that some of you probably don't like, and that's the new layout of climate controls, which have been digitalized. Even this aspect of the M4 brings unique features, such as M-specific graphics and content, but overall, things are the same as in the standard 4 Series. The level of convenience is pretty high, as you get standard Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Harman Kardon sound system. However, some features need to be paid extra for, starting from the Wi-Fi hotspot, wireless charging, and gesture control. Back to standard equipment, the 2024 BMW M4 comes with leather upholstery, power adjustable, and heated front seats, as well as all kinds of safety and driver assistance features. Some of the things worth mentioning are automatic emergency braking, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, automatic high beams, front and rear parking sensors, and more. As for the launch date, North American lovers of this coupe will have to wait for a little bit more, as sales are expected to start in late spring or early summer. The base M4 is expected to go a little bit over $80,000, while the hottest, fully loaded variants could get pretty close to six figures. As for the rest of the world, the updated version is already available in the UK and in Europe. In the UK, the price starts at around £84,000 for the coupe and £88,000 for the convertible. As for the competition, besides the aforementioned arch rivals from Mercedes and Audi, the 2024 BMW M4 will also continue to compete with models like the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, Cadillac CT4V Blackwing, etc. What do you think of the refreshed 2024 BMW M4? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!